Okay, so like we promised today, we're going to dig into Arlan Hamilton's Your First Million. Um, just from the excerpts, it sounds like an insane journey, right? Homelessness to like hanging out with celebrities.
It really makes you think about how we view wealth and success, right? Like that whole thing about her buying a vintage truck at a Janet Jackson
Oh
auction.
yeah, the Janet Jackson auction thing. What was that all about?
I mean, it really shows her business sense,
Yeah.
understanding what's worth putting money into, even if it has personal meaning for you, and being able to use that story to her advantage.
What I think is so cool though is like she owns all of it, you know. She talks about hard stuff too, like being homeless,
Yeah.
using food stamps, even getting told she was overqualified for jobs.
Yeah, and that's what makes her whole self-belief thing so powerful. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's not like she's ignoring the problems or saying, just think positive. It's about knowing what you're worth, owning what you're good at, no matter what.
So it's more about being able to bounce back than just confident.
Totally. She got told no a lot, but she always believed in herself and what she wanted to do. That's huge for anyone, but especially for people who've always been told they're not good enough.
And she really pushes that idea of owning your money too. Let's be real for a sec. That's a struggle for a lot of people.
For sure. Hamilton says most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, we need to get a grip on our money, right? And she lives that truth. She's all about those multiple income streams.
Hold up. So you're saying it's not just about getting a raise, it's about having multiple ways to make money. What does that even look like?
Exactly. She had 7 different income streams at one point, and it wasn't all venture capital stuff. Think book money, speaking gigs, even her podcast. It's all about not putting all your eggs in one basket, not relying on just one paycheck. She asks this killer question: what's one thing you're good at that you could maybe turn into a way to make money?
That's deep. It all goes back to her whole thing about being scrappy and making things happen.
Right.
Even with venture capital, which can seem so intimidating.
Totally.
Yeah.
And she breaks it all down really well. Explains the different funding rounds, from friends and family to angel investors and all the venture capital stages. But here's the cool part. She's not saying VC is the only way to win.
Right. She bootstrapped her podcast, Your First Million. Even when she had funding offers. It's like sometimes keeping control is worth more than the money, especially early on.
100%. And she has other examples too. This, like Casey Kelly, who started Blended Designs, a t-shirt company. It took off after her son said they should print kids' faces on bags. They did it all themselves. Got a deal with Walmart, then went for VC to get bigger.
That's mixing it up, right? Like, it's okay to start small, figure it out as you go.
For sure. And it shows how important it is to be open to trying different things. Sometimes the normal way isn't the right way, and that's okay.
Speaking of different ways, Hamilton's into crowdfunding too, right? What does she say about that?
Huge fan. But she's real about it. It's not a magic solution. There's good and bad. With equity crowdfunding, you're giving investors a piece of your company, which is great for building a community, but it also means they see all your financials.
So it's about deciding what's right for you and your business.
Right. Exactly. And Hamilton shares her own ups and downs. Like when she started Runner, that platform for connecting talent, she used a bunch of different approaches, even bootstrapped publicly to be transparent.
Wow. It's like she's saying, this is hard, but you can do it. Here's how I'm doing it.
Right. And that honesty is everything, especially for people who don't have those connections or resources. It's about sharing knowledge, making it possible for anyone to be an entrepreneur.
So like, it seems like this whole accessibility thing is a big deal for her, right? Like she wants to change the game, make it so anyone can be an entrepreneur and succeed on their own terms.
Totally. And she even has this term for the kind of networking that's key to making that happen. She calls it horizontal networking.
Horizontal networking. So instead of trying to climb the ladder, you're building relationships with people on the same level as you.
You got it. It's about working together, not against each other, lifting each other up. She uses Dawn Dixon as an example. She's an entrepreneur who really gets this.
What's her story?
So Dawn built her network by supporting other entrepreneurs.
Right.
And it paid off big time when she needed funding for her company, Popcom.
Oh, wow. What happened?
She raised $1 million through equity crowdfunding, became the first Black woman to do it. It just shows you how powerful community can be, especially when the traditional ways aren't working out.
Yeah, it's like building your own table.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And Hamilton walks a walk. Like, remember when she called out Sequoia Capital?
Oh, yeah. She basically said, hey, you're only giving a tiny bit of your money to Black founders. What's up with that? And she don't just complain. She offered solutions, like create a dedicated fund with real resources.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's one thing to talk about diversity, but she's about that action. And she's not just telling other people to do it. She started Backstage Capital to back underestimated founders herself.
It all goes back to ownership. using what you have to make the change you want to see. And it's not just about the money. It's about building a diverse team, mentoring people, making those connections.
And that seems to be a big theme in the book, huh? That diversity isn't just some checkbox. It's actually crucial for success.
100%. When everyone's the same, things get stale, diverse teams are more creative, more adaptable, better at solving problems. And it's not just about demographics either. It's about different ways of thinking, different experiences, different perspectives.
Makes you think about your own circle, right? Like, am I surrounding myself with people who challenge me, make me see things differently? Good food for thought?
Definitely. And it all ties into this bigger vision Hamilton has, this idea of work being more equal, more flexible, more empowering.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What does she see happening with work in the future?
Well, she thinks the pandemic really shook things up, showed everyone the cracks in the system. People realized they could ask for more flexibility, more control. You're seeing unions popping up in places like Google, Amazon, Starbucks. That was unheard of a few years ago.
It's like workers are realizing they have power, and they're demanding better treatment, better conditions, better opportunities.
Exactly. And it's not even just about fighting bad bosses. It's about redefining what a good job even means, what a fulfilling career looks like. And Hamilton says ditching the FOMO is a big part of that.
FOMO. You mean like the fear of missing out? Tell me more.
She's saying it's easy to get caught up comparing yourself to others, especially with social media. You see everyone's highlight reel and feel like you're falling behind, but she realized that was just a distraction from building her own thing.
Okay, so how do we avoid that trap?
By deciding what success means to you, not what someone else says it should be. She tells this great story about seeing other female investors on magazine covers, and instead of feeling jealous, she was happy for them because she knew her time would come.
Right. Everyone's journey is different. And yeah, comparison can really steal your joy.
Tell me about it. It's about focusing on your own goals, your own progress, what you want your life to look like. Celebrating your wins no matter how small, and recognizing how far you've come.
So how do we connect that to something like money? Building wealth, achieving those financial goals.
It's about making sure your money goals match your values. For Hamilton, that meant creating opportunities for others, investing in companies that are making a difference.
Which brings us to impact investing, right? It's not just about making money. It's about making a difference.
Exactly, putting your money where your mouth is. And Hamilton doesn't just talk about it. She created Backstage Crowd.
Right, that platform that lets anyone be an impact investor. How does that work?
It's about giving everyone a chance to invest in companies they believe in. Companies that are trying to make the world better. Opportunities that used to only be for rich people.
And she uses that company Akash Systems as a perfect example.
Yeah, they send satellites into space.
Right, and they raised $500,000 in like 2 weeks through Backstage Crowd. And it's not just them. Backstage Capital itself was funded through crowdfunding. So it's like she's proving it works. It can shake up the whole venture capital game.
It's like this whole cycle of empowerment, right? She's using her success to create opportunities for others to succeed, to become impact investors themselves.
Totally. It's about recognizing that we have more power than we think, especially when we work together. We don't have to wait for someone to give us permission or rely on the old way of doing things.
It's about taking control, making our own opportunities, and using our collective power to create a better future. It's so cool to see her actually living it out, you know? It makes it feel like something we could actually do too.
Right, and she gives you the tools to do it.
Yeah.
In the book, I mean, there are exercises, resources, real-life examples to help you actually take action.
That's what I love about it. It's not just like, you go, girl. It's real advice. Totally. It's like she's saying, come on, let's do this. You're the one in charge of your own success. And hey, your version of success might not look like anyone else's.
That is so true. I mean, look at her life. Music to venture capital. Talk about forging your own path.
Right. It's not always a straight line. It's about embracing those twists and turns. Even the stuff that feels like a setback at the time, that's usually where the best lessons are.
She even talks about that, right? Learning more from when things didn't work out than when they did.
Totally. It's all about perspective, seeing those so-called failures as stepping stones.
And how do we do that with like money stuff or chasing our goals? How do we reframe those times when we fall flat?
Instead of being scared to fail, think of it as a chance to grow. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's how you really level up.
I feel that. It's easy to get stuck in the fear. But what if we used it as fuel instead?
Exactly. That's what she's saying. Embrace the unknown. Be bold. Take chances, even if it means messing up sometimes.
I mean, if she hadn't taken those risks, she wouldn't be where she is now.
Right. Exactly. She's proof you don't have to follow some preset path. You
Yeah.
can make your own, go your own way, and build something that reflects who you are.
And that legacy doesn't have to be about money or being famous.
Right.
It can be about making a difference, leaving things better than you found them.
Absolutely. For her, it's about empowering others, sharing what she has, creating opportunities for people who've been shut out.
It's like realizing that we're all in this together. When one person wins, we all win.
And that takes us back to impact. It's not just about making your first million. It's about what you do with it, using your success, your platform, to make a real difference.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And honestly, after reading this book, it feels possible.
Right. That's the thing about her story. She shows you that you don't need permission. You don't need to win the lottery. It's about taking charge, using what makes you you to make a difference. And, hey, maybe you'll make your first million on the way.
Love it. All right, so to wrap this whole thing up, what's the one thing you want listeners to walk away with from this deep dive into Arlan Hamilton's Your First Million?
Oh, that's easy. Your first million isn't just about the money. It's about using your experiences, owning your skills, and building something that empowers you and others. It's a journey anyone can take, one step at a time.
Such a good note to end on. And to everyone listening, if Arlan Hamilton's story resonated with you, go check out her book, Your First Million. It's packed with even more stories, advice, and practical tips to help you define success on your own terms. Until next time.